The AMEX Stadium is the venue tonight for the final away fixture of what's been a truly memorable campaign. Brighton still harbouring hopes of Europe themselves. They are the opponents for Arne Slot's Premier League champions as they look to record their first win since becoming champions and end this spectacular season in style. We've got live audio commentary of all the action when it gets underway at 8 o'clock tonight on the South Coast. Phil Thompson and Steve Hunter will be on the mic for that one. Here in the studio are Gary Gillespie and Jason McAteer is with us as well. Down on the South Coast, we're going to hear from Ray Houghton very shortly. First, though, Rob Jones has got the Liverpool team news. Rob.
Becky, thank you very much indeed. Welcome to sunny Sussex by the Sea for Liverpool's final away game of the season, with Arne Slot looking for his first victory since confirming title number 20 22 days ago. Since then he has shuffled his pack and it is the same again tonight. 4 changes from the side that started the draw with Arsenal last Sunday. 2 of them coming in defence with Jarell Quansah and Kostas Tsimikas coming in. Also into the team Harvey Elliott and Federico Chiesa, with Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Curtis Jones and Luis Diaz all dropping out. So let's take you through the Liverpool team in full. It'll be Alisson in goal. No golden glove for him this year, but looking for a clean sheet. Number 11 will take him level with Dean Henderson and Jordan Pickford, albeit having played far fewer games. In defence, Conor Bradley celebrates signing a new contract on Saturday with his 6th league start of the season. It'll be Quansah alongside Konate. So Virgil van Dijk drops out of the starting 11 in the Premier League for the first time this season. Tsimikas at left back. Maybe Dominic Szoboszlai will play a little bit deeper tonight alongside Ryan Gravenberch, who turned 23 on Friday, with Harvey Elliott in the 10 position, and then a front 3 of Chiesa making his first Premier League start alongside Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah, who makes his 300th Premier League appearance tonight. In that time frame, only Harry Kane and Alan Shearer have scored more goals. It is a stacked substitutes bench tonight for this game at the Amex, and Ray Houghton will be watching alongside me. Lots to pick at there. Let's start at the front, shall we? And an opportunity for Federico Chiesa to show what he can do from the start tonight.
Listen, there's been a lot of players that have been on the periphery, you know, in the background waiting for their opportunity. They've had to be patient because of the consistency of Liverpool over the season. And the manager, Julie's done the right thing, in my opinion. He's given them their opportunity to go out there and show what they can do. Some of them are playing for their careers for next season. They'll understand that. Hopefully they go out and attack the game in the right way. Go out there and be really positive, show what they can do. You know, these lads are here on merit. They've got exceptional ability, but just a case that Liverpool's strength and depth is there. But 1 to 11, the manager's a plan in place all season who he's wanted to play, and he's stuck to it. Not religiously, but more often than not, in big games, he knows the team he wants to play. Tonight's a chance to show some of the French players what they can do. Get them out there and show them on the pitch what they can do on the pitch itself.
We've been speculating as to whether it'll be Gakpo or Federico Chiesa that plays down the middle, but given Gakpo's success off the left, do you think it'll be Chiesa down the middle?
Yeah, and I don't think that's a position that he would play that often. Whenever I've seen him, he's always been a midfield player, whether on the right-hand side he can play in the central position or on the left. But at the moment, I'm sure he just wants to be in that starting 11 and get some minutes on the pitch. Gakpo's been great when he's been in the team. Whenever he's come off that left side, drops his shoulder, gets on his right foot. You know, he scored some spectacular goals this season for Liverpool. I just hope the lads go out and do themselves justice in this game. I thought they were good against Arsenal in spells, went 2-0 up and allowed Arsenal back into it. But today they should just go out and there should be a freedom about Liverpool. Just go out there. They've done all the hard work. They've got the trophy. That's what it's been about from day one when they got together, new manager took over. It was about winning the 20th league title. They've duly done that, and whatever they do tonight, the fans will be more than happy. They're just hopefully a guard of honour again, and then they'll go around afterwards and celebrate and go and thank the Liverpool fans for all their efforts this season, both at home and away, the ones that have travelled and supported the team throughout.
I guess the other question is that midfield area, because Dominic Szoboszlai has been so effective as the 10, but it also seems to be the position that would suit Harvey Elliott the best.
Yeah, but I think you can play with just the one in there. You don't have to go with 2 all the time. You know, Ryan can play that position on his own, and you can play Dominic a little bit higher up next to Harvey and just play a pivot in that area of the field. It's about going out there and getting on the ball and expressing yourself. You know, looking to do the right thing when you're in possession of the ball. Go out there and enjoy it. That's the thing I'd be saying to the players. You know, there's nothing on it. You know, there really isn't that much on the game itself, other than you want to finish the season on a high. You'd like to get 89 points, wouldn't you? Of course you would. Last 2 matches, you know, next Sunday at Anfield when they play Crystal Palace is going to be absolutely brilliant, and the fans are going to be really looking forward to that. Because of what Liverpool have done this season. But overall, it's been such a refreshing season to watch Liverpool. And if you look at every metric, they've been the best team. If you look at the number of wins that they've had, number of goals that they've scored, fewest defeats, look at their away record, they've got the best away record. They've, you know, won more games than anyone else. So everything's been so positive, and I want to see that tonight. I just want to see the lads go out there and enjoy it. Smile on your face, get on the ball, make things happen.
The other little interesting one is centre-half, and Virgil van Dijk, who started every single Premier League game this season. An opportunity, I guess, for leadership for both Kwanzaa and Konate to show they can do it without the captain stood next to them.
There's no sentiment in football, is there? I mean, he's played every game, isn't he? He's been absolutely brilliant. And you look at his level of performance and how he brings the best out of the others in and around. And I'm not just talking about the back four who's alongside him. I'm talking about the players in front. You go and ask Ryan what influence that Virgil has had, you know, pulling him into positions. I'm sure he will tell you that he's helped him enormously throughout the campaign. And Virgil will probably come on at some stage. He'll want to be on the pitch, I'm sure. He thoroughly enjoys his time here as the captain. He's been exceptional game in, game out. And he's going to be a miss tonight. But you're quite right. You know, for Jarrell to come in, and it's been a tough season for him, it'd be lovely just to go out there and see him play at the level that he can. But go out there and express himself. I keep using that word because I think it's the one that we should be using tonight, the one that the manager should be talking about. And it's about going out there. You've got the shirt on your back tonight. What can you do as a Liverpool player? I
suspect the reasoning is Virgil van Dijk resting his arms to lift that trophy on Sunday. Could be a big night for Brighton. They won't know it until next week because there is a battle to finish 8th, which might be enough for the Conference League. That very much depends on Chelsea. We'll get into that a bit later. We'll get into their team a bit later on as well. But 2 changes, Simon Adingra and Brian Gruder in for them in place of Tariq Lamptey and Matt O'Reilly.
Very much indeed. I tell you, if anyone has earned a rest tonight, it's definitely Virgil van Dijk, isn't it?
You meant me back.
Not you, not you.
Recently.
Working you hard till the end.
Well, yeah.
Just in terms of, you know, the team, firstly, a lot of changes, which we probably anticipated for this game, Jace. Not too many surprises there, but I think really exciting to see Federico Chiesa.
Yeah, there's no real need to play the lads who have played long part of the season. You know, you can rest them now. I think they've had a little trip away to recuperate and a little bit of team spirit, team bonding, which they've earned, obviously. So, yeah, there's real no need to play a full-strength team. The manager can have a look at all the fringe players. We were just talking off camera, and I'm sure he's made his mind up what he wants to do next season and who he wants to keep and whatever, but it does give players opportunities to showcase themselves if they have got other ideas of maybe moving on, or if they do want to impress the manager and they want to stay and it's in the balance, it gives them an opportunity. So yeah, it's a big night for some of the players, but they deserve the opportunity to have a go. You know, he's played a very consistent team most of the season, and some of them have had to sit and wait and take their opportunities when it comes around. This is another one tonight.
I think the quandary is, where do they all fit in? Where do they all play?
That's what we're just trying to work out.
You know, like Mohamed can play down the middle, can't he? We've seen that in like seasons under Jurgen Klopp. Does he play there and Chiesa goes to the right hand side? Or even Gakpo? Does Gakpo come in and play central and maybe like Chiesa goes to the left hand side? So there is options, and there's like in the same in midfield with like Harvey Elliott and Szoboszlai. Where do they fit in? It'll be interesting to see how it
starts, but possibly could change over the course of the game, Jason. That fluidity is something that's a bit of a strength.
Yeah, they'll start with a structure, but like Gary said, there's so many options, and the players are so clever now, aren't they? And there will be fluidity in that front line, and it'll be interesting to see how they start, but what they actually do. I mean, we've seen it a few years ago with Mane, Salah and Firmino. You know, they weren't, although they started left, right and central, they did interchange positions and move about that front line. And you know, there was one point, you know, you would find Salah out on the left and maybe Firmino on the right, and Mane down the middle, and it was very flexible. And maybe that's the way they've been told tonight. Listen, you know, you're going to start down the middle, but don't be frightened to go out right. You know, you can interchange, you can overlap each other, and you know, create space. And
again, another point is like no Virgil van Dijk, no leadership, like in respect to that. Can Konate step up and be that sort of like commanding individual like the Van Dijk is? Because somewhere along the line in the next 2 or 3 years, Van Dijk is obviously going to have to stand. Well, you would think he would have to stand down somewhere along the line. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with Kwanzaa and Konate playing together.
I've seen the players arriving there at the AMEX, which has not been too happy a hunting ground in the Premier League. Just one win since 2020 for Liverpool in the league. And obviously they do still have a chance, Jace, of qualifying for Europe if they finish 8th. And a few other results need to go their way as well. But they will still have something to fight for this evening.
Of course they will. For Liverpool, it's a game of being professional, showing the professionalism, your desire to win the game. Listen, it's very difficult because they're over the line now, and there isn't nothing else to play for. There's no Champions League to play for, so there is an element of switching off, but you do want to be professional. But for Brighton, it is different. Listen, they're at home, they're in front of their home crowd. I'm sure this will be the last game, I'm sure, won't it? With only one to play, they must be away at the weekend, so they'll want to give a good send-off for the fans. And they're in a okay bit of form. Last 3 games they're unbeaten, aren't they? But they're in a, before that it was a bit of a tricky spell for Herzl and his boys. But yeah, for them, moving up that league, you would say European football is probably beyond them.
I mean,
maybe
they can still get the
can
Conference
nick it.
League.
There's a bit of a dogfight going on there, isn't there? You've got Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton and Fulham. Fulham, a great result for them just recently, wasn't it? With the 3-2 victory, I think
they were winning 1-0
anyway, I mean, so there is a bit of a dogfight to get that 8th position, which looks like will get them the European Conference League next season. So yeah, they'll have everything to play for, and especially being the last home game in front of their home fans, I think they want to make a point.
We spoke about Federico Chiesa. Harvey Elliott as well will be very keen to impress once again tonight. Jay's possibly playing in that number 10 position, you think, behind a front 3?
Yeah, I mean, Gary touched on it before. You're probably looking at Szoboszlai and Gravenberch holding, and Harvey Elliott being the more forward of the 3 players, and obviously being the most creative of the 3. You'd probably think he would suit that role and probably rise to the occasion. His minutes have been down this season. It's been disappointing for Harvey after picking up a really bad injury. He's never really got himself in the team and cemented his place. It's been very difficult, and plus into the fact what I mentioned before, the manager's been very consistent with his team selection, and Harvey's had to wait and bide his time, and he gets an opportunity tonight and he'll want to showcase himself. So it's a big couple of seasons for Harvey. He's on the brink of the England team as well, and he needs minutes. He needs to be playing consistently. Again, I keep saying it, it's an opportunity tonight to show the manager what he's got.
Confirmed as well that Mohamed Salah will captain Liverpool tonight in the absence of Virgil van Dijk. We heard Rob say there 300 Premier League appearances, I think 13 of those in Chelsea colours, of course the rest in a Liverpool shirt. But a big honour for Mo Salah tonight. I think Ali, of course, has captained the side in the past, but a nice night for Mo to make a landmark.
It's a nice little touch, isn't it? I mean, he goes into most games with all records to break, isn't he? Again, he needs 2 goals to get to 30 Premier League goals. Can he do it over the next 2 games, Brighton and Crystal Palace at home? You'd like to think he could, but I think it's a natural decision from the manager. He's probably the most experienced player in the team, in the starting 11. So I think that's obviously give him the captain's armband. I don't see him being a permanent fixture as the captain, but you never know.
I'm sure he'd enjoy it if he was. I mean, let's have a look at just to cap off some records. There's so many that he's already broken this season, James. But tonight, if he scores tonight, it would be his 17th away goal in the Premier League this season. That would set a new record in itself. He's chasing the Premier League assist record, of course, in a single season, which currently stands at 20. He's on 18. So when we talk about motivation, that he will have massive motivation and in an individual sense to hit those targets and break some more records.
I honestly don't remember this many records being around when we were playing.
No, I think they create records like
they do, don't they? They just make them up. It's we'll make a record.
Yeah, we'll do that one. Yeah,
that'll be a record.
It's a fantastic achievement, isn't it? It's a fantastic. I think it's Thierry Henry and with the assist, and I'm trying to think who else it was. But I mean, you're talking about elite players in the Premier League.
Kevin De Bruyne's up there with 20
Kevin
as well.
De Bruyne. I mean, 2 elite players in the Premier League era, and to get mentioned, amongst them and amidst them is a fantastic honour. Hopefully, he can do it, as I say.
I mean, he'll have his eye on. Go on.
I was just going to say, when you pull it into perspective of the numbers he's posting, you look at Brighton tonight, their opponents. They've got Welbeck and I think Matoma, I think 9 goals.
Well, yeah,
you know, and he's on what 25, but constantly.
First time Danny
frightening.
Welbeck has hit double figures as well in a Premier League.
It just goes to show how important it is to have a goal scorer in that kind of 25 mark.
Not many have one like Mo Salah, do they? Right, we can head back to the Amex now. Let's get more from Ray and Rob, starting with details on Brighton's starting 11. Rob.
Becky, thank you very much. 2 games to go, I should say, in Fabian Hürzeler's first season in charge as Brighton head coach. He could still lead them into Europe. It is very much not in their hands, though. If they finish 8th, that will be enough for the Conference League, but only if Chelsea finish 7th and also win the Conference League themselves. But still the opportunity to finish the season with a nice little run. They won at Wolves last weekend, and Hürzeler makes 2 changes from that side, both of them coming in his midfield. Simon Adingra and Brian Gruder come into the side in place of Tariq Lamptey and Matt O'Reilly. So the Brighton team in full. Bart Verbruggen in goal. He kept his first clean sheet since the end of March at Molineux last weekend. It's the same back 4 that started that game. So Mats Wiefer at right back, Pervis Estupiñán at left back, and then the centre halves Adam Webster and Jan-Paul van Hecker, who plays his 100th English League game tonight. In front of that, it'll be Baleba, Ayari and Brian Gruder, who scored in that win at Wolves, and then a front 3 of Simon Adingra, who has scored in the last 2 meetings between these 2 clubs at the Amex, Yankuba Minter, and Danny Welbeck, who scored double figures in a Premier League season for the first time with a goal at Wolves as well. Lewis Dunk and Kaoru Matoma back into the Matchday squad and in amongst the substitutes. Ray is still alongside me. Last 3 seasons then, 6th, 9th and 11th, not in that order for Brighton, but this is about where we expect them to be, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Brighton. I think the recruitment policy is absolutely first class. You know, their owner, Tony Bloom, he gets all the data on players. He knows when to sell them, as we've seen with McAllister, Caicedo. You know, brought them in for not big money, sold them off for huge advantages as far as that's concerned. And this still hasn't impacted them on the pitch as much. You know, they're still bringing in the right calibre of player. When they came to Anfield earlier on in the season, for 45 minutes, they were absolutely excellent. You know, they should have been ahead. The way that they played, the way they manoeuvred the ball, tactically, I thought they were very, very impressive. They all want to finish the season on a high. The form against Liverpool over the years, and they haven't played that many games against them, isn't great. I think they've only won 7 of all the matches they played against Liverpool, and only 1 in the Premier League here. So it'll be interesting to see what they're about tonight as a team. As you say, they might finish 8th with the results go their way. But they've just got to go out and express themselves as well. They've got some very good players. You're talking about Danny Welbeck and how well he's done at this club. He's a huge mentor to the younger members of the team. He's a huge influence over all of them. And they'll want to finish as high as they can.
Just on tactically then, you would think that a lot of the threat from a Brighton perspective will come from the flanks tonight and the pace of Adingra and Minter.
Oh, absolutely. And before that, Matoma. I know you said he's just coming back after he'd been out injured. I'm a huge fan of Matoma whenever I've seen him play. He plays on that electric. He looks like he wants to attack the full-back. He's not someone who just wants to play backwards and square. He wants to be positive in possession of the ball. And when you've got strikers like Welbeck in the box, he needs that. He needs his way. Goals all round. I think even like defensively, Van Hecker has had an outstanding season. I think he's won their Player of the Year and maybe even the Supporters Player of the Year. And game after game after game, and you said about, I think it's his 100th game for the club, isn't it?
In league football, so he had a bit of time at Blackburn as well.
But when you look at it, you look at his level of performance and his consistency. He's improving game on game, season on season, and that comes down to the recruitment at the club once again as well.
It was really interesting when you were talking about tactically them being quite impressive, but we were just talking before we came on about Fabian Hürzeler still being 32 and he does try things. So away at Nottingham Forest they played effectively with just 1 central midfielder, 4 attacking midfielders and a striker, and got smashed 7-0, and you have to accept that, I guess, if you're going to appoint someone like him, that he too is learning as well as his players.
Yeah, he's learning on the job. You know, he'll have a huge influence over his players, but he'll be watching them in training on a daily basis, so you'll know the ones that you can trust, the ones that maybe are on the periphery, some that needs to come in and then left out of the team. But you'll say that there's a nucleus of players that he trusts and plays most weeks. And the more he does that, and the more players that he brings in, and then he can influence them, the better the season. Because they're not going to sit back. They're going to keep scouring the world for the best talented players that they can find, bring them in, give them a platform to come and play. They play very well. Other clubs are going to come in and pay big money for them, as we just spoke about earlier on. So it's a good club. Just have a look around here and what they've done at this stadium. You know, the fans come here because they really enjoy the football that Brighton play. I enjoy watching them.
Yeah, it's a lovely walk as well up from the car park, isn't it? Past the rugby ground and a cricket ground to get yourself here to the AMEX. What you were saying then about recruitment and about selling players on for a big fee, who do you think might be the ones that people will come and try and cherry pick this summer? Matoma, João Pedro's not involved tonight.
Yeah, well, and Van Hecke we just spoke about as well. You know, there's not as much talent around the central defensive position. You look at most of the big sides, they're looking for them, aren't they? Everyone's out there scouring around the world for the most talented youngsters into the first team, and clubs like this is a stepping stone to the next level. So they understand that. The owner understands that as well. He knows if players are playing really well at a high level, there's got to be scouts here watching. There's got to be, you know, every club around the country are going to come here and say, right, who's the next player that we can get from Brighton, as they've done with
Get your checkbook out, 'cause it won't be cheap.
Well, it is. They're not going to be cheap, and rightly so, because they've put the effort in. They've done everything that they can to bring in the right personnel at the club. They've trained them in the right way, they've coached them in the right way, and they've performed at the right level with a consistent performance week in, week out, hence the reason why they get the big moves that they do. So, yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 you'd be looking at. Obviously, the Brighton fans will want them to move on, but the chairman might, because he knows it's going to bring in more money, and that's the level that they're at. You know, they can't go out and spend as big as the other clubs and buy players for 80, 90 million. It's just not a club like that. They have to do the due diligence when it comes to the recruitment, bringing in the right players, and then if they play to the level that they think that they can, then they move them on.
Well, Ray mentioned it not too long ago that the Brighton fans largely come here and enjoy their football, and they've been right to do so in recent months. Just one month.
Thanks very much, lads. Apologies for a little bit of interference we got in the link to the Amex there. Right, fresh from a trip to Ibiza after that 2-2 draw with Arsenal, Arne Slot was back at the AXA Training Centre on Friday when he spoke to the media, as well as getting some sunshine himself. The boss also allowed the players, of course, to have a few days away together as well last week, and he was asked whether that could bring them even closer together after the team's title-winning experience.
That's the nice part of your jobs. If we win it, you will tell me this. If we lose it, we will get the blame for being a few days off and our head was somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. This is all the nice part of your job. For me, it is Chelsea away is one of the most difficult away games in the season. Brighton away, I do think you know what Arsenal did there, what City did there. So if we are not able to get a result over there, for me that has nothing to do with players enjoying a few days off. But this will probably be the story in the media. Or you would disappoint me, because in Holland this would definitely be the story of the media then. But maybe you guys pick a different idea. For me it's clear. That's why if we win it, then it's going to be brought as a positive thing. So there's only one truth, but as a journalist you can look at it from both ways, and you can be positive or negative about what we've done. What we know is we felt that this was a good way of preparing ourselves for the game on Monday, because the boys deserved a few days off. It's been a very long season for us, and we think 3 days lead up towards the game on Monday is more than enough time to be physically well prepared. If we are mentally well prepared for a very difficult game against a team that can play really well, that is something that has nothing to do with us being somewhere else or over here, but that does have maybe something to do that for us there's not, apart from winning a game of football, there's nothing else at stake.
I just wonder how important it is for them to be able to celebrate what they've achieved in the season, because the opportunity to celebrate it together don't really lend itself to a football season.
Not true. Normally, especially in this league, but in general, even in Holland, it's the last game. It's really special. You should watch it. It's about the last game, and normally in this league it's also about the last game. And if you want it then, and you want to go after the season, then wives, girlfriends, children are like, yeah, come on, I haven't seen my dad for such a long time. Let's go on a holiday now with the family, which I can completely agree. So we were having the the great position that not only we won it earlier on already, but also we've played on Sunday, and then the next game is on Monday. So, like I said, even if we wouldn't have won it yet, they wouldn't have had 4 days. I think they had 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. But they probably would have had 2 or 3 then as well, because in the end of the season you have to find the right balance in keeping them fit enough to play, but also get them mentally fresh. And that's what we've tried to do last week. Before the Arsenal game, we had a few days off as well, and this week also.
Is it a little harder in terms of motivating the players at this time because the main job has already been completed?
I think the honest answer is yes. Yeah. Although I cannot look in all of their heads, but I think it's clear to everyone if we would still compete for the Premier League, then there would have been a few days off as well, but probably we wouldn't have gone somewhere else. But because I don't think we're the only team, if you play on Sunday and next week is Monday, that you give them a few days extra. But I think the honest answer is that there is a difference. But if I look at the way we played the Arsenal game, I saw a team that wanted to compete against Arsenal from the first second till the last. Even when we were having some problems in the second half, they were able to come back into the game. So that tells you the mentality is still very good. But it was a home game. And what is the main thing for us is, it doesn't matter if we won the league, yes or no. If you play Chelsea away, Arsenal at home and Brighton away, these are difficult games to play. That's why I was also so happy that we were already enough points clear to clinch the title against Tottenham.
Yeah, back to business for the boss on Friday at the AXA Training Centre after that trip to Ibiza, which was well covered on social media. Let's just take another look if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure you have, of those scenes from Ocean Beach, as I say, in Ibiza. But the boss looks very cool, very calm, very collected, as he's been all season on the touchline, Jason. And
doesn't look like a DJ, does he?
He doesn't, but a very well-deserved break for him as well as the players too.
Absolutely, and it did bring a wry smile when he said if the league wasn't over, I still would have given him 2 or 3 days off. I'm not quite sure whether he would have done that. But listen, it was an opportunity, wasn't it, to let the lads, go on a bit of a bonding session, and he decided to go elsewhere. Probably didn't want to see what was going on, and maybe the amount of alcohol being drunk, which might be a good thing. So he decided to go to a different part of the world to relax. And I think we knew of him before he came to the football club, but now he's won the league with Liverpool. He's probably known around the world by everybody. So he's entering into a different world now, and I'm sure he's signing more autographs to get more pictures.
I like how he answered the question. I mean, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. If they win the game against Brighton, then it's a wonderful thing, isn't it? If you lose a game against Brighton, the press leap onto it and think, oh well, they've been on their jollies for like 3 or 4 days, and it's taken it. Well, listen, the job's been done. Why don't you let your players go and enjoy yourself?
I mean, if you can't do it when you've won the league, when can you do it? And nice that they chose to spend that time together as well, because often players will, of course, go off with their partners or their families for a couple of days. And
do you know why I think it's good? Listen, you learn a lot in adversity, defeats and losing cup games and big cup competitions and stuff, and it's disappointing. And you do learn about yourself as an individual, as a player. The manager learns a lot about his squad, how they bounce back, their attitude. But I also think there's a lot in winning. And when you win something, I really think that you need to savour the moment, because they're the things that they bring you back. They're the things that you look at and think, I want to do that again. Yeah. Listen, I didn't have the opportunity to win things, but I played in cup finals and I went to World Cups and stuff, and I just look back after the first World Cup and thought, I want to do that again. And it's just something that is installed inside you then.
I remember when we won the league in '84, and we had the European Cup final about 3 weeks after we had won the league, and they took us to Tel Aviv in Israel randomly. Yeah. And I think we had a game out there. We played some local side or something like that. But that was just like a team bonding kind of exercise. Yeah. After a long, hard season, you'd been successful in the League Cup, we'd been successful in the league, and obviously there's a massive game coming up. But it was like 2 or 3 weeks down the line. So a week, like just to blow out a little bit, I don't think harmed us. I think, in fact, if anything, it brought us closer together and gave us that motivation to go and win the European Cup.
You know, obviously we've followed Liverpool now, certainly since Jürgen came, and, you know, with all the trophies we win in the cup finals and the Champions League at the end, I really had a sense at one point we're just not celebrating winning here.
Yeah.
It's like you win the League Cup, you move on to the next league game because we were still in the title. You won the title, we were in the Champions League, so it was like we won the title, oh great, like oh, no, we've got that, and then it's kind of like, then we go to the Champions League. Unfortunately, we might have lost one of them, which we did. We lost 2 of the 3, didn't we? And it was a bit like, you know, it was kind of like. It just all
it was difficult times, though, wasn't it?
Very difficult, to celebrate. So that's great. What they've done is great.
And more celebrations to come this weekend, of course. Right now, we are about to leave those of you watching us on social media at the moment. If you aren't already an LFC TV subscriber and you do want to stay with us for the rest of tonight's build-up, then you can find details of how to sign up online right now at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come this evening before kick-off, we are going to hear from Connor Bradley very shortly, fresh, of course, from signing a new contract at the weekend. Former title-winning captain Phil Thompson is alongside Steve Hunter for the match commentary at 8 o'clock, and then Tomo will join Jason and myself for all the analysis from 10 o'clock. That post-match show as well is going to be available as the reaction podcast as well later on tonight. Then the full match replay is at midnight this evening on LFC TV, and do as well, of course, always look out for Inside. That will land on our Facebook and YouTube channels on Wednesday with all the best behind the scenes footage from tonight's events down at the AMEX. It is an 8 o'clock kickoff on the South Coast this evening. Plenty more build-up is on its way to Brighton versus Liverpool on LFC TV. Stay with us. We're back in a couple of minutes.
Harvey, 2 games to go. How are you feeling about it?
The season's gone very quick. For us, you know, it's been successful.